from Hollywood, California, at the world-famous Improv, it's the Nighttime Show! With us, as always, our head writer and producer, Matt Walker. I'm the voice of the Nighttime Show, Mike Black. Our very special guest today, star of Carlito's Way, Journey 2, and Boogie Nights, Mr. Luis Guzmán. And now, the host of our show. He's so delightful he doesn't need to make porn. Put your hands together at home for a social distance welcome, Mr. Stephen Kramer Glickman.
Yes, I have not made any porn. Sadly.
Sadly.
Hey, thank you so much for doing the show, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be here, man.
It's an honor. You have such a phenomenal career, and you've worked so much. Where did you grow up? Where are you originally from?
I was born in Puerto Rico, but I grew up in New York City. My family lived in Chelsea and Greenwich Village in the 60s, and then in the 70s we moved to the Lower East Side.
Oh wow, man! Did when you were growing up, what type of work did your family do?
My mother, she was a worker in the garment district, and my dad was a TV repairman.
Oh my God,
wow, that's a job that doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we were the first family on our block with a color TV.
Nice.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, well, because,
Yeah.
after 30 days, you don't pick your TV up. Then, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have a brother, my brother Benny, my sister Millie from my mother's side, and then my brother Roberto and Joaquin from my father, Joaquin in Puerto Rico. So I'm the oldest, man. I'm like, you're talking to the black sheep.
Do you remember what it was like when you first saw color TV? Like, were you excited about that?
I was very excited. Here's the funny part. So I invited all my friends upstairs, and we were all like in awe.
Yeah.
We were in awe. So like a couple of days later, one of my buddies that I had brought up said, "Yo, we just got a color TV too." So we went down to his apartment, and his color TV was black and white, but then they threw this color
The film.
kind of gel over it. And I looked at him and said, "Man, that's not even real color TV."
That's so great.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, that was like a
But
thing
I
that
didn't
used to
believe,
do.
I didn't believe they really did have gels back in the day.
Yeah.
I had-
remember that. I totally remember that.
I had one as a kid where there was like a show you would watch, and then you would draw stuff on the gel with a crayon as like a thing on the screen, and then you'd wipe it off later so you'd reuse it on the next episode.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay, so you grew up 400 years ago.
Yeah,
We all did.
Matt is old as fuck, for sure.
I remember the two different knobs on the TV, and one of them that changed the channel, and the other one, no one knew what the fuck it did. But it had like 100 numbers on it.
How about when the knob to change the TV didn't work and you had to change it with pliers?
Yep.
Yes.
Shit.
Remember that?
I was the youngest, so I was the remote control for my family doing that stuff.
I went to go visit one time. I'll just tell this very quickly, but I went one time to Canada to visit some family when I was very young, and I found out that my uncle had porn in his basement in a closet, like porn tapes. And so I stole one of the porn tapes and I brought it upstairs to my grandparents' house because they lived on the second floor. And I thought I'd go into like one of the rooms, close the door, and like play the porn tape so I could see what pornography was. And because I heard there was going to be ladies in it, I was excited about the ladies. And so I tried to put the tape in, but it was a Betamax tape. And it was a VHS. They had a VHS machine. And so I was like, Betamax. And so then I went to my grandfather and said, hey, we need to go buy one of those new Betamax machines. And he was like, I heard that people aren't using those anymore. And I was like, you're out of your mind. We have to go get one right now. And he wouldn't do it. So then I was afraid to go back down to the basement and risk getting in trouble. So I took the porn tape and I shoved it into a metal box on the side of the wall, thinking that it was, I didn't know what it was. It was the radiator, and it melted to the heat, to the hot, to the inside of the radiator.
Oh, the radiator.
Radiator, yeah. Then we call it radiator in
At first,
Canada.
I thought you were saying that radiator was the name of the porn, and I was like, well, he's like part rat, part gladiator.
Yeah,
What is this
that
movie?
would look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'll tell you about my first year of college, right?
Please.
Okay.
My freshman year, I went to City College in New York City, up in Harlem, and so I'm a freshman. I'm just there a few weeks, and so they had like a student club, you know, and so every Wednesday they have a double dip movie. You know, they show 2 movies.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of my boys said, "Yo, man, they're showing 2 really cool movies today, man. Why don't you come?" I said, "What's the movies?" Well, they're showing Deep Throat and The Devil and Mrs. Jones. and I go, "Shit, man, I heard about those, man." And I went, and here we are, a freshman in the school cafeteria watching Deep Throat and The Devil and Mrs. Jones.
Wow.
That is a cool college.
Yeah, it was insane.
How
Wow.
crazy was that in a group, like with other students and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know what kind of drugs people were on, but it was like really quiet in there.
and were you acting at that time? Had you started acting in school by then?
Man, the only acting I had done was in high school. My senior year, I did Bye Bye Birdie, because it was a school musical that year, and that was the only thing I did. And then when I was in college, I was doing street theater.
Oh,
And
okay.
street theater more than anything was a favor to the different people that I knew, that they would write something, and they would ask me, "Would you play these 8-9 characters?"
Oh, that's
So-
cool.
There'd be a block party or a street festival, and we set up a outdoor theater right there in the middle of the street, you know?
Wow.
But you got to understand, at that time, I wasn't even pursuing wanting to become an actor. We just
It was just for the
something that I did
favor.
as a hobby. Yeah. Well, you know, I was an activist on the Lower East Side. I became a social worker. I work with young people, with teenagers, and it was pretty much after. It was like 10 years. I did a movie called Short Eyes back in 1976. I was 20 years old, and I didn't do anything again till 1986, like 10 years later, which happened to be Miami Vice. That was like my real introduction to the business.
Yeah.
And that was a total accident. Because the guy that wrote Short Eyes, 10 years later, he's writing on Miami Vice, Miguel Piñero, and I ran into him one day. And he said, "Hey, I'm doing a show, and they're coming to New York, and they're going to be looking for people." And gave me a phone number, went to Bonnie Timmerman's office, and I got me a co-starring role in Miami Vice. I had no clue what I was doing.
Wow.
That's so
All
cool.
I wanted to get out of it was enough money to buy me a used car so I could drive to the beach on the weekends and not have to take the train and the bus.
Oh, my God.
What was your experience on Miami Vice like?
I was in awe. My very first take was with Don Johnson and Phil Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
And after the first take, Don Johnson walks off set, and the director, Paul Michael Rachel, comes up to me and goes, you know, you stepped in his light.
Oh,
and,
no.
and I go, I did what? He said, you stepped in his light. So he waves his hand And he said, see that? That's his light. Don't step into his light again. And that was like the very first thing I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man, oh, man.
Your career almost ended after one take.
No, man. I mean, it was all good, you know.
But you know, like when you're in the beginning of your career and going and doing these first jobs, you see stuff
It's
like
really
crazy
like that.
You learn so much. Like you see somebody. I remember seeing someone on CSI when I was like doing like extra work a bajillion years ago, where they couldn't remember their lines. The guy just couldn't remember a couple of lines of dialogue, and they were working it and working it and working it. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, like even at the top level, you're still, even on a big giant show, you're still making mistakes. Like, did you?
It's not that you make mistakes, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you do make mistakes, yes. But you know what happens? Sometimes our brain and the way we're wired, sometimes when you get your script and you look at the dialogue, sometimes your brain will not process something the way it's written because your brain is so used to saying it in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You see?
Yeah.
And so sometimes people get stuck like that.
Yeah.
But you also got to understand, when sometimes you work on these shows and you go from doing a 2-page scene on page 2 and 4, and then next up is page 35 through 39. That's 4 pages, and then later on you're on page 56 to 61, which is, and so you ain't got that much time.
Yeah.
To and so you got to understand. You got to forget everything that you had just did, and now relearn something totally brand new.
Yeah, and you're focusing on that when no one tells you about someone else's light,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it happens. We're human.
Yeah.
And I've worked with the best of them. I've seen it happen. It's and more than anything, I try to be comforting to people. Say, yo, don't worry, we'll get this. Because I've been in that position too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's just we're human. We're human.
That's really good advice.
You can't tell me how many times you drove down the same street to that same stop sign, and there has never been a time that you blew right past it and you say, "Oh my God, I can't believe I just did that."
Yep.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Okay.
There's a couple early films of yours that I gotta mention that roles of some stuff that you did. Batteries Not Included. I know you jumped in on there to do something, and then Crocodile Dundee 2. These are Black Rain. These are like bigger and bigger films.
Well, let me tell you about Batteries Not Included.
Please.
So Batteries Not Included was being filmed that summer, and they were filming right in front of my building, and right across the street was the holding. So I had already done Miami Vice and stuff. I happened to have been on vacation. So I found out that they were looking for, SAG extras, because I didn't have a role in that movie. So I asked the guy, so how much are they paying a day for SAG extras? And the guy said, we're paying $150 a day for SAG extras. So I go, oh, shit, all right, cool. I think I make a nice $750 while I'm on vacation. So in between takes, and when they didn't need me, I just go up to my apartment and hang out and look out the window when I saw that they're ready. So that was like I came in through the back door of that one.
Yeah.
That's something I'm very proud of. But back in those days, I was doing the hustle, and back in those days, $750 for just hanging out and getting free lunch for a whole week. You're not going to pass that up.
I would still
awesome.
take that deal.
Absolutely.
Any day of the week, I would take that deal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
That hustle is no joke.
I did Crocodile Dundee 2.
Yeah.
I went to Australia. We were in the outback. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. It was freaky because we were in the outback. They built an encampment for us.
Oh,
So
wow.
the very first night that we're there, the park ranger shows up,
Yeah.
and he's about to tell us about where we're at and stuff like that. So he goes to us. So we just want you to know, you are the guests here. You are the animals.
Yeah.
The animals that are out there on the other side of the fence, they are the residents.
Yeah.
You are the visitors. So he goes, of the 20 most poisonous snakes in the world, 17 live in Australia.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, okay.
Oh,
Of the 20 most poisonous spiders in the world, 17 live in Australia.
No.
And I'm like, and so then he goes, so if you get bit by one of these venomous creatures, by the time you call here to your loved ones back in the state, you'll probably be gone. But be very careful.
God. Holy
Shit like
shit.
that. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know if I could say that,
You
but
can say whatever you want.
Yeah. You can say whatever you want.
all right, cool. And but it was a great experience, man. I used to see like schools of cockatoos, like by the hundreds in different colors every morning. White, black, green, brown, rainbows.
Man.
I used to see freaking crocodiles, in the lagoon right in front of the house.
That is so
and it
cool.
looked like a log, and then 15 minutes later you come back out and that log is gone. So
Oh my God.
that log ate somebody.
yeah.
Did you
but-
did you get to spend a lot of time around Paul Hogan?
Yeah, Paul was great. Paul's a great man. He did such a beautiful job of taking care of us. He was very, very giving, very nurturing. One day the helicopter pilot had to go gas up, and I'm sitting next to Paul at lunch. And he goes, "You want to take a?" It was my day off, and I will come in for lunch because there's nothing to do in the outback. And he said, Paul, and Paul goes to me, "You want to take a ride in the helicopter? Go get some gas, petrol?" And I go, "Yeah, sure." Man, that helicopter pilot, we were flying over the rivers. They were like 10 feet off the ground because it's all flat.
Wow.
And man, there were these crocodiles, and they were like snapping up at the helicopter, And then we go down this field, and we come around this hill. And when we come around this hill, like, I'm not kidding you guys, like 10,000 wild horses, and they just take off running. They call them brumbies.
Yeah.
Brumbies there, and it was like I was having my National Geographic moment.
That
And it was
sounds so
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, and like I said, Paul was a very generous man. He took care of a lot of people. He did the right thing.
So was that your first experience as really sort of being one of the stars in a movie, like where you sort of felt like, because like say Miami Vice was like probably pretty small, and then you sort of snuck into through the back door to Batteries Not Included, but like was this the first time where you're like, wow, I'm like, they flew me to Australia, I'm doing a movie, I'm on set all the time? Is that like sort of your first time really feeling a part of the business in that way?
No, because like I was like pretty much a piece of furniture in that movie. I was there more for presence than I was for acting. Because you needed 4 bad guys, so I fit the bill. But I think when I really first felt that way was when I did a movie called Q&A that was directed by Sidney Lumet.
Oh wow!
And it was an ensemble piece. Nick Nolte, Timothy Hutton, Armand Asante, Charles Dutton.
Oh, that's a great cast.
Patrick O'Neill, Paul Calderon,
Wow.
and I was like the new kid on the block, and that was the first time, and you're working with Sidney Lumet, who is legendary.
Yeah.
I love Sidney. He taught me a lot, in the time that I got to work with him, and that's when I kind of said, oh wow, this could really go somewhere, And then a few years later, I did Carlito's Way.
Yeah.
And when I did Carlito's Way, I kind of knew I was like on the cusp, you know?
Yeah.
I put it to you this way. It took me literally like maybe 15 years for me to say, oh, wow, I'm really good, you know?
Yeah.
Because I felt like I never really truly, in the beginning, I was always finding my way, you know, kind of molding myself into the craft of acting, you know, learning about working with other people, with directors, learning about lighting, about sound, you know, and so, you know, like I said, it took me a while to realize, oh wow, you're really good, you know. And I think the film that did that for me, I forgot which film it was. It could have been Boogie Nights, actually. You know,
You really stood out in Boogie Nights in a lot of ways, you know.
Yeah.
I think the film closes with you, if I remember correctly.
I got to see it again, but if it did, I think
it ends on you like planning your new club.
That's right. When they wrote the wrong name to my club, right?
Yeah, and that's a big deal in an ensemble to have it close on your scene, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, let me tell you, man. That was probably one of the most phenomenal movies I've ever worked on.
Yeah, I mean that's we're Boogie Nights is like late '90s, and when that came out, with Mark Wahlberg was like top of the world, and Julianne Moore was like she was like right up there, and you're right there, right in the center of it, right. You're with Burt Reynolds, you're with all these amazing John C. Reilly, Don Cheadle. And you hold your own, like you're so funny in it.
Not only that, it's such a heavy movie. You're getting all these laughs consistently throughout, and it works though. It works with the whole theme of the film. It's really a standout, you know.
Yeah, well, no, listen, man. I tip my hat to Paul Thomas Anderson, a phenomenal writer, a phenomenal visionary director. And then we also had an incredible crew that worked on this movie because they had to really bust their ass, man. You know, and then of course the cast that you mentioned. You know, so we had the right chemistry going into that movie. And again, for me, like I said, it was something that I was very proud, extremely proud of, and that to me is a huge feather in my cap.
I think so. Yeah, and then you went from that to working on Oz, where you had a nice story arc on Oz around that same time. Was that before or after Boogie Nights when you filmed that?
That was right after Boogie Nights.
Yeah. So how different was that going into like episodic television like that from being mostly on movie sets before that?
Yeah,
like
especially a show like Oz.
Well, honestly, I never thought of it as episodic TV. I always just think of it as work.
Okay.
You know, to me, it's work.
Yeah.
And so, when I first showed up on Oz, I'll never forget my first day of shooting. Remember the guy that played Adebisi?
Yes.
The guy with
How did they get the hat on the side of his head? That's what I want to know. Okay, 20 years later.
I have to sign a disclaimer on it. But so my very first take, I'm talking to the guy that's in front of me, but Adebisi is standing right behind him, and he's looking at me, right? And honestly, I'd seen maybe 2 episodes at that time, and I was blown away. I actually called my agent to say, call those producers. I want to be on that show.
Yeah.
And that's how that came about, Tom Fontana.
If you saw 2 episodes, you probably saw 17 murders in 2 episodes.
18.
18, yeah.
And so, they got me. So anyway, I'm doing my very first scene, and Adebisi walks right behind the guy I'm talking to, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at the guy, and I say my line, and I see Adebisi look at me, And I said, what the fuck are you looking at? Without me even realizing that he's probably the most murderous dude in the land of Oz. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah. And here's the funny thing. I did 3 years of Oz, I think, 3 years. So what happened was Steven Soderbergh, he had sent me a script for the movie Traffic.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I read it, and, you know, I had already done Out of Sight with him, you know, and we really hit it off well. And so I went to Tom Santana and said, hey, Tom, I really want to do this movie. And he goes, fine. So the only way you get off Oz is you got to get killed.
Yeah.
So my only request to Tom Santana was, anybody can kill me, but Adebisi.
Nice.
So I ended up getting killed by an 80-year-old guy. He shanked me in the neck. You know?
Oh, yeah. I remember that now.
Not a bad death. Not a bad death for us, okay?
Yeah, and then you went on and you did Magnolia, I think, right before Traffic, or around the same time. I
think Magnolia was right after Traffic.
Okay. And Traffic, I mean, that's huge,
Traffic
you know,
was
Oscar-nominated.
Unbelievable.
Amazing film.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And based on a British miniseries that I watched, actually. It's really good.
Yeah, well, you know, my God, Jason Robards, man, pretty much he was on his deathbed and he was doing that role, you know. Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was playing his nurse, you know.
Yeah.
Probably one of Tom Cruise's best performances, you know. And again, it was such a, you know, Julianne Moore, and it was just a great ensemble.
And that was the breakout for Benicio del Toro, who now has gone on to be a huge star. But I mean, that was like sort of America's first introduction to him.
Wait,
Traffic. Yeah.
I'm over there saying, wait, Benicio was
well, mixing up the movies there, yeah.
I mean, not to be jumping across to more Paul Thomas Anderson, but I just rewatched Punch Drunk Love a couple weeks ago. I think it's Adam Sandler's best performance in any movie that he's ever done, and you're so great with him. Like, what was he like to work with on that film?
Adam Sandler, to me, is a champion, you know, because he was working in a different element, you know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an element that, you know, it's just a different element, you know, but he trusted Paul, you know, and I tell you, man, I was so proud of Adam, because every day he would show up, he would, you know, and you know, if he had to do 10, 15 takes, whatever, you know, he would go in with the energy, he would make whatever adjustments, he would do great. Then Paul says, okay, give me one more, and Adam would give him one more, and then Adam would say, let me give you another one, and they would play that ping pong stuff back and forth, you know?
Yeah.
And so he was really, really giving, and I'll tell you what, man, when I first watched the movie, after 5 minutes in, I totally forget that I'm watching Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Because that's how great of a performance he got, that you actually felt bad. You felt sorry for the bad guy.
The moment with his sisters where they're all giving him shit in front of the girl
Yeah.
that he's interested in, and then he smashes
You know?
all the windows with a hammer. I was like, I have never felt so on board with the character. I was like, oh, I completely understand everything that's happening here. Like, it's so good. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, man. And like I said, you know, Emily Watson.
Oh, she's so great too.
She was great in it. You know, of course, Philip Seymour Hoffman. You know, everybody. And like I said, you know, again, man, Paul is such a gifted writer, director, man, and you know, like I said, Adam, you know, I was proud of him. I know he got nominated for an Academy Award for that, So he did well. He did really well, and to this day, I'm really proud of him. And to this day, Adam and I are really good friends.
Hey, Steve, do you know what time it is?
Is it time for a Neft vodka moment?
I believe it is.
At Neft, they say, life is a story, make it a good one. And the Nighttime Show is all about great stories, especially behind-the-scenes stories. So, Matt, what is a behind-the-scenes story about the Nighttime Show most people won't know?
One of my favorites is we went to Ed Asner's house. 7-time Emmy winner Ed Asner went to his house to interview him. And we sit down, and he pulls out an enormous knife like Crocodile Dundee has never seen. And he says, "You better make this a good question."
Yeah. It was so good. What the hell? It was so amazing. It was so great.
I could have used a drink after that.
Yeah, me too. Especially a drink of Neft vodka. Neft vodka is a small batch vodka with a taste as memorable as its container. The container is so cool. It's this portable, unbreakable barrel. I mean, when you go to like a pool, like a fun pool party, a lot of times glass is not allowed at the pool or at the beach. This solves that problem. It's this insulated steel barrel will keep the Neft vodka cold for up to 6 hours. It was inspired in Siberia, distilled in Austria, and it has won a ton of awards here in America. Go check it out. Go get one right now. BuyNeftVodka.com. That's BuyNeftVodka.com. It's buy NEFT vodka.com. Go check it out right now and get your drink on. All right, let's get back to the show. Look, I got to bring up there are two films that I have to bring up because we got a lot. We posted on Facebook that we were going to get to talk with you today, and both of these got brought up. The Count of Monte Cristo and The Adventures of Pluto Nash. Is there, from either of these, is there a moment that you remember that you were just like, any stories from the set from either of these that you'd be down to share?
Yeah, well, when I did the Count of Monte Cristo, yes. And so I flew to Ireland, and I had just finished doing a movie with Steve Buscemi and Dennis Leary in New York. And I got a call from Kevin Reynolds. He introduced himself. I'm doing the Count of Monte Cristo. I'm in the Bronx, in the South Bronx. And, he's in Europe calling me, "I would love for you to do this movie. You're my guy, blah, blah." I go, "Cool, great." So I last read the Count of Monte Cristo, I think, in the 11th grade, And I vaguely remembered it, but I read the script and refreshed my mind. I said, "Oh, great, yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great role," and stuff like that. So I flew to Ireland, and I'll never forget, I got into the car. They sent production center driver for me and everything. It's a 45-minute drive into Dublin, and the guy is talking to me perfect English. Mm-hmm. I do not know what the fuck he's saying.
Oh my God.
Okay? Because it was like Gaelic or something. It was like
yeah, that strong Irish accent.
Oh yeah, man. And all I could say was, yeah, I hear you, bro. Yeah. Yeah. So, I get there and I'm meeting all the actors, the production team. I'm there for a week, and I noticed everybody has, Irish, English accent. Mm-hmm. And so I'm already there saying, okay, so I got to duplicate that. Okay, let me see. So my very first day of working, my first take, Kevin Reynolds halfway through the scene yells, "Cut." He said, "Louis, come here, I want to talk to you." He takes me to the side. We take a walk. He goes, Can you explain to me what you're doing?" I said, I'm doing my character. I said, "Yeah, no. What are you doing with your language, your speech? What is that?" So I'm just trying to duplicate the accent. He goes, "You're the only actor in this movie that does not have to do that." and he said, "Bro, you're a pirate. You're probably from Spain.
Yeah.
Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Can I tell you how much I loved hearing that?
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Oh, man.
That must have been the biggest relief ever.
Oh, yeah, man, because, it's like when you work with these Irish English actors, man, they are phenomenal. They're extremely talented, but I'm not classically trained like that,
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it was a great experience. That one moment when I introduced the Count in the movie, and all the fireworks go off and he come down in the hot air balloon.
Yeah.
That's when I felt like, yeah, this is it. Boom.
You were so good in that part. I vividly remember seeing in the theater a moment where you said the line, "Boss, you're going to be so proud of me." And me and my friend both cracked up because it was such a funny turn of phrase. And we have been saying that to each other ever since. Like, whenever we do anything good, we go, "Boss, you're going to be so proud of me."
I'm gonna have to watch it again,
Yeah.
I gotta pick up all these little lines,
You're terrific in that movie.
Thank you. And then Pluto Nash. Pluto Nash was a very interesting movie.
Yeah, that's one way of saying it.
Yeah, it was a very interesting movie to me because the movie had an all-star cast to it.
Yeah.
It was $135 million movie at the time.
Damn.
And I think it made like $6 million at the box office.
Shit.
But lucky for me, I didn't take that hit.
No.
I just showed up. I did my role. I love my role. It was funny. I got to engage myself with Eddie Murphy, who to me is a phenomenal performer in his own right. Yeah, man, I did that, and but I guess what I got out of it was the experience of having an opportunity again to work with someone great like Eddie Murphy, and at the time it was Ariel Dawson, so. Yeah,
that's great. That's such a that's one of those movies that's like kind of crazy. It's kind of a crazy, film. So I appreciate you, you even talking about it. We wanted to bring up the sitcom that was your sitcom. It was your show.
Right. Yeah, please do.
How did that come to be? How did you end up getting your own sitcom? How did that end up working out?
Well, my manager and my agent set up a pitch meeting at Fox. We went in, we pitched it, and they agreed to do it. I went through a whole day of meeting showrunners, and I ended up picking a dude named Will Gluck at the end. I have a tendency of when I work with people, I like to work with a fresh face,
Yeah.
So I did that. We did 10 episodes of the show. At that time, I think my show probably was one of the most diverse shows on TV.
I think it still is one of the most in history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had Malcolm Barrett. We had Charlie Day on that show.
Love those guys.
I'll tell you a funny story about Malcolm in a second.
Oh, he's
been on our show.
Yeah,
He's
been on our show. We interviewed him.
Yeah, no, but I'll try to give me. I don't want to lose my thought, and I don't mean to be rude.
No, of course.
But so we did 10 episodes of the show, and like 3-4 episodes in, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I became like really disappointed with the writing of that show, because I like to do good comedy, honest comedy, and this was my first time working on the show that is like every 4 or 5 lines there has to be a joke.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mind that as long as the jokes are really good. You know.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, I will get like next week's script on Thursday. The week, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would read the script over lunch. I would go into my showrunner's office and say, dude, I don't find this funny. And then I would hear stuff like, well, this is what the network approved. And I go, are you kidding me? You know, because I think I have a pretty good sense of comedy, sense of humor.
Yeah.
And I felt that it was not being really tapped into the way I wanted it to. You know, of course, I'm at the mercy of like, well, you know, you're just 3-4 episodes into shooting this and all this and all that. So, you know, my manager and my agent, they told me to stay put. So we got through it. But like I said, you know, listen, I was very proud. I had a very diverse crew and a very diverse cast.
Yeah.
You know, I only wish I had a diverse writing room.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt that was a problem because, you know, this is a show about a family from New York City, from Spanish Harlem. You know, and I felt that the writing room did not reflect that. You know,
That's a big problem.
That really is. It really is.
It's a big problem. You know, so I'll never forget. Toward the end, I got a new script, and I'm going out on a date with this girl. And so my ex-wife, who was in the show, she asks me, where are you going for your date? And I go, oh, I'm going to Kittyland for some cat juice. And so I walk into the writer's room, I go, dude, cat juice?
Yeah.
What is that, cat juice?
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, at that point, I was pretty disillusioned. I was proud that I was doing the show. I was proud of the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I was proud that I got an opportunity to represent my community and stuff like that. But, you know, again, I just felt that they really missed the mark as far as really being able to capture my comedy.
Yeah. Would you want to do a show again with, now that you're even more established than you were at the time, do you think now you might have the clout to be like, hey, this is what the writer's room needs to be. Let's get the right people in there who can really write.
Absolutely.
Because I would love to see that. And I
That
think,
would be great.
like, there's a lot of talk about diversity. And I was talking about this with Felipe Esparza and his wife not that long ago, about the lack of diversity in the Latino community is probably the biggest disparity in all of Hollywood right now.
100%.
And that there hasn't been like a big Latino sitcom since George Lopez. I mean, Cristela had her show for a little while. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think it would be big. It would do, people want to watch this stuff. I want to watch it, you know, and I think there's a big community out there for it.
Well, here's the funny thing. So when I was doing my show, it was kind of messed up because we were going up against George Lopez. So they had 2 Latin shows
At the same time. That's crazy.
at the same time competing against each other.
Yeah.
What?
And it's like, and so I used to do all these junkets and all these interviews and stuff. And so it was always the question, so what do you feel competing against George Lopez? And say, well, I didn't put myself to do this to compete against George Lopez.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what I used to tell everybody. And it was really unfortunate, you know? And then, you know, but it is what it is. But, you know, the problem with Hollywood is that the people that make the decisions in those rooms, there is no Latino representation in those rooms helping to make those decisions.
Yeah.
You know?
That really needs to change.
And so that really needs absolutely, you know, there was a great show on right now on TV on ABC called The Baker and the Beauty, and they canceled it. And it was like about a Cuban family that owns a bakery shop, and it was a great storyline, and they canceled it. And it was like just like that, boom, you know.
It doesn't
and
get
it's
enough
like
of a chance.
it doesn't get, you know, and and I will say this, man, there are executives in Hollywood that are not good executives, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I can't believe that in 2020 that, you know, it's not enough to just have one or two Latinos in a show.
Yeah.
But it speaks volumes to have a Latino show.
Yeah.
And there is one on any platform.
And
that's shameful.
I think we need a Latino show that comes from a Latino perspective, because even a lot of these shows with Latino stars still have a largely white male writing room. Like, it's still just the same guys that write all the other shows writing this show, and they don't necessarily get the community and the references and things. Like, I grew up in a 98% Hispanic community, so, like, even though I'm a white person, I get that a little more, but I wouldn't be right for that because I'm still not representative of the community, and I think we need people who are representative of those areas, and there's plenty of talented writers from all these communities we could tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I listen, I did, when I was doing the show, Cold Black, for example.
You're so
every
awesome,
once in a while, I would get somebody would write like 2 or 3 lines for me to say in Spanish. I would go, who the fuck wrote this? Who wrote this Spanish? And I'm not kidding you. I would hear shit like, "Oh, we Googled it." Google does not.
Google Translate.
Are you kidding me?
Google does not know Spanish.
Yeah.
This is not, you know, and so that's a real dilemma.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think Hollywood really had to get off their ass and wake up. You know, because you know, listen, man, there are plenty of black shows on so many different platforms. You know, but like I said, when it comes to a Latino show, you know, it's pretty shameful. You know, we have great Latino comedians who get their 1 hour Netflix special and stuff like that. You know, but that's a 1 hour Netflix special.
I mean,
you know?
I mean, look, when Cristela Alonso got her own TV show, she had to shoot her pilot on, I believe it was Tim Allen's set from his TV show that he was shooting, because they didn't invest energy into building her a set for her fucking pilot. Like, it's unbelievable. The disrespect is insane.
And the market is there. It's a huge market waiting to be tapped.
It truly is. Yeah. Yeah, it really needs
and look, you know, I'm not trying to create a divide. What I'm trying to create is an equality.
Yeah.
You know? And that is my perspective, because, you know, I got nothing against white writers, black writers, Asian writers, Latino writers, Avian writers. You know, my concern is when you're going to do something, please reflect what you're writing about.
Yeah. It's got to be authentic.
Yeah.
You know?
It definitely does.
You know?
Hey, real quick before we continue the show, I want to talk about a third-generation, family-run business that I am very proud to be working with. Sennheiser is the top-tier microphone company in the world, and we are so lucky that we are now recording our show using Sennheiser microphones and their headphones. It's awesome.
We're talking into Sennheiser MD42 microphones and using Sennheiser HD25 headphones, and these sound amazing.
I mean, listen to Mike Black's voice.
Listen to the rich and sumptuous soundscape that comes out of my voice every time I speak into a Sennheiser.
Absolutely. Go check out their microphones and their sound equipment over at Sennheiser.com. All right, let's get back to the show. And you've gotten to do some really incredible comedy stuff. I mean, when we posted about this on Facebook to kind of check in with, you know, fans and stuff, one of the movies that came up again and again and again and again and again of just people just hashtag Batwing was waiting.
Yeah.
Because you're so funny in that movie, and that cast is insane. I mean,
Yeah,
it's you and Ryan Reynolds
row.
and you and Ryan Reynolds and Anna Faris and Justin Long and David Koechner and I mean, just it goes on. Alana Ubach. I mean, Andy Milonakis, Dane Cook. You know, these are. That's a killer.
Like everyone right in their prime, too.
Oh my God!
You know?
And some of them, weirdly, from the time this is just a little fun fact, but some like Justin Long was the big star when they started making that movie, and by the time they finished making the movie, Ryan Reynolds had kind of blown up. Anna Faris had like blown up because of Scary Movie, because
David Koechner started blowing up.
Because of Anchorman.
Yeah.
And I mean, you are in incredible company, and you're so funny in that. What was it like filming that movie?
Oh man, it was so much fun. You know, I was like quote unquote the elder statesman, you know, and they had already been shooting a couple of weeks. So when I showed up, I get all these young cats coming up, Ryan, dude, you know, you're our hero. We can't believe you're here. You know, and you know, they paying homage to me, and I'm like really humbled by it all, you know, and it was just so good to be there, you know, with the rest of Rob McKittrick. He was really cool, you know, and you know, basically what I ended up doing in that movie, I ended up really taking everybody under my wings, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was really cool. I don't know if you ever heard about the April Fool's joke.
No.
Trick and I. So, you know, there's the scene in the movie where the guy can finally pee and we're all in the bathroom together.
Yes.
So when Rob was setting up, that happened to have been April Fool. And so that morning, Rob and I were trying to figure out, you know, what can we do to get the cat? So, you know, we're going back with ideas. He comes to me with an idea. I call him stupid. Get out of here. That's not a good idea. I go to an idea. He calls me stupid. Tells me to get out of here. So finally, what happens, and it just kind of happened naturally, but we were rehearsing that scene. And so right before he goes in, we cuddled up and said, okay, bro, this is what you're going to do. You're gonna insist that I change my line to this, you know, and then I'm gonna refuse to change the line, and let's see what you and I come up with from there. So there was a guy doing behind the scenes, so he was the only other person that knew that was in on it. So we go in, and the whole cast is in this little bathroom, and he's telling everybody what to do, and say, okay, Louis, so listen, I changed the line for you. And I go, wait, I like my line. What's wrong with my line? No, I want you to do this other line. So I read the other line. I said, bro, I don't like that line. He said, well, just do it once for me. I said, no, we're going to do my line first, and then I'll do my line for you. And then he goes, you see something? And then he goes like mumbling to himself, but so everybody can hear it. It's like, oh my God, we got an ego problem going on here. And I go, excuse me? What did you say? And he goes, you heard what I said. And I go, let me tell you something, buddy. You know who I've worked with? Who have you worked with? He told me to say that. Right? Yeah. And I go, bro, you're nobody. I'm Louis Guzmán. And while this is all going on, you see Justin does not know where to put himself.
Yeah.
Alana's about to start crying. You know, I mean, everybody is like in this little space, and at the end, say, you know what, bro? Come outside. I'm gonna whip your ass. I don't know. And so I walk out. He walks out, and the camera guy is still rolling, and the room is totally silent. Rob and I go out the door. I'm not kidding you. We are rolling on the ground, laughing real hard. And then we come back in the room together, hand in hand, and we go, April Fool. And it was like the weight of the world was lifted on. So here's the funny thing. So when the movie came out, Rob posted that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rob posted the first half of what we did in the bathroom, right? So I start getting all these messages from fans. Oh, dude, man, you were my favorite actor. Now fuck you.
Oh shit! Fuck you.
I mean, what an asshole you are. I thought you were the coolest dude ever. Fuck you. I hope you die and shit like that.
Wow.
Like, yeah, man. And it was like a whole thing. So I called Rob. I go, Rob, you see what's happening, right? He goes, yeah, I know. Rob, you gotta fucking post up. I was coming
the second
back
part.
So he posted the next day, and then some of those people, dude, you got me, man. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry. I got so many fucking sorries, and
Oh my god.
But bro, we got the cast. Like the cast was sold on the. If you ever run into Justin or anybody, ask them about that. Ask them about.
Oh, we will.
Absolutely.
That is
And I think if it still exists these days, if you look at the DVD and there's a whole commentary and there's an outtake of that at the very end.
wow.
I'll have to look that up.
And then they actually interviewed the cast about that.
Wow.
Do you still have fans that haven't seen that second part yet and they're still mad at you?
No, I think they all got over it.
Hey, a quick thing I want to talk about, Mike Black. I think this is something that we really should talk about, and it's a company that was founded in 1983 in Tokyo, Japan. Of course, I'm talking about the Zoom Corporation.
Zoom.
Now, if it wasn't for Zoom, and Matt knows this, we would not be able to do our show. They make the best audio equipment in the world. Which one are we using right now?
We're recording onto a Zoom LiveTrack L8 right now, and when we go do our live events at conventions and stuff, we often use the Zoom H6, and they're both just fantastic pieces of equipment. You plug your microphones in, you plug your headphones in, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, whether you're a classically trained pianist or a run-and-gun filmmaker or a podcaster like us.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do a ton of podcasts, and I can tell by listening when they're using a Zoom and when they're not.
Yeah,
it's the mark of excellence.
It really is. Go check it. Go check out all their stuff over at zoom-na.com. That's zoom-na.com. Be professional, for God's sake. Zoom-na.com. All right. Okay, let's get back to the show. Before we wrap up, a couple of comments of people who have written in about you and with questions and things. First question was from Daniel Lee Straviansky, which was, how do you feel about becoming a statue at Greendale Community College on the show Community?
I think that's a great homage to me. I'm honored. I'm flattered. I'm humbled by it, and I really hope I could find that statue and bring it home.
I love it. Here's another one. This was. Okay. No. All right. Sorry. You worked on the movie The Salton Sea. Was that as intense as it looked on screen, being on a set like that?
It was intense for a number of reasons, but DJ Caruso directed that, and I came in to do my job and kind of relieve a little bit of the tension that was going on between the producers and the director and Mr. Kilmer.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of break the tension.
What about you worked on one of the best video games of all time?
Oh yeah,
Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Do you have any memories from that?
My memories from that was my boys were young and they had a handle on how to play those games.
Yeah.
And so my son at the time said, "Pop, man, I got up to the level. I saw you, and it's pretty cool, Pop. Check it out." So one day, I'm at home and I'm playing it, and I'm like 5 minutes in, and I'm trying to figure out what to do, and I see a car a nice convertible, and it's being driven by these two old ladies. And I go, okay, that's an easy target right there. So I go and I try to hijack the car from these two old ladies, and they end up fucking killing me and stabbing me up with their umbrella.
The two old ladies killed you?
Yeah, man, fucked me up, man. It was like,
that is awesome.
I never went beyond.
That would be a rough start. Yeah, I don't know if I'd have the courage to play again after that.
Yeah. No, I didn't even make an attempt.
Yeah. Wow. What's really crazy too with something like Vice City is Vice City sold 5.9 million units, making
$50 each. So
yeah,
$250 million.
$250 million,
and the
$300
cast
million.
that you're in there with is insane. Dennis Hopper, Burt Reynolds, Donald Sutherland, Ray Liotta.
Holy crap!
I mean, it is nuts, the people that they pulled together for that video game. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, like those games, they take, listen, if it costs them $50 million to produce that, they make in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's a game.
Do you just did you record like all your lines in a day, or is it a longer process for you? How long did it take?
Well, first you have to go into this green screen stuff, and they put all these dots on you, and you got to move around for them so they can record your movement.
Yeah.
And then in a day we did all my recording. Yeah.
Wow.
Are there any photos of you in the ping pong ball outfit? Because that sounds hilarious.
I think they're somewhere.
I think the correct word you were looking for is sexy. Sounds sexy, Matt.
Yes, baby.
We appreciate you being on the show so much. Do you have social media or anything that if people want to follow you?
On Twitter, it's I am Luis Guzmán. That's one word. On Instagram, it's Louis from the Hood, and that's Louey from the Hood. And on Facebook, it's just Louis Guzmán.
I love it. Mike Black, where can people find you?
On all social media at Mike Black Attack.
I love it. What about you, Mr. Matt Walker?
You can find links to everything at funnymatt.com, or if you're upset by me in any way, let me know at mattwalkersucks.com.
And people do. People do hate you a lot. You can always get me at Stephen Glickman, STPHEN Glickman, on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe to the Nighttime Show podcast. It is an absolute honor. Thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate your time. Thank you, guys. I love the conversation, and keep doing what you do. Stay beautiful, stay safe, and stay healthy.
You too.
Thank you.
You too. Take care.
Stand